What was the first computer game that you loved playing? SimCity. You know you're addicted to a game when you keep realizing that dawn is breaking outside because you've been playing it that long. Did you ever play Simcopter? There was nothing better than building your own SimCity and then flying around saving lives and dispersing riots in it. If there's one game I'd like rebooted, it's Simcopter. Such an original game, and I feel like it holds up in every category, but graphics still today. Putt Putt and Pajama Sam and Spy Fox and Freddy Fish. Man, those were the days. TIE Fighter. Both my brother and I were obsessed. Then I saved my allowance and bought a Logitech Wingman joystick. It was awesome. I remember playing X-Wing, which was a lot of fun before TIE Fighter. We found a game mod, so we modified the Rebel spacecraft. We added 8 Imperial lasers at the same mount point and linked them together. That way when we came across small transports, one shot and boom. Good times having a mega laser. The Incredible Machine. Tim. Eggs. Tim. Eggs. Lemmings. Let's go. Oh no. /pop. Wolfenstein 3D. Spatterber all the walls. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Grunt 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 click yes. Exclamation mark. Civilization. The original one for DOS. I still remember my first game, where I slowly built up on an island. I had just discovered how to build knights and was feeling pretty good about my progress. Then Caesar showed up with tanks and mowed me down with some snide remarks about my lack of progress. It was such a good game, and it just kept getting better with each version. I've hated Caesar through 4 more versions of that game. Jerk. The worst part of that game for me was that I never did find a legit copy, so all I had was a bootleg. Don't have the manual? Better save every turn, because if you don't, you just know you're going to get the prove you're the real king DRM questions. For those that don't know, old school DRM was the best. To prove you owned the game, you had to look up some piece of info from the manual. In Space Quest 5, for example, they included a Forks magazine called Janitor's Monthly or something like that in the box. There was a scene about 1/4 of the way into the game where there were about 100,000 possible ways to configure something, and only one would let you pass. The correct config was on the last page of the magazine, printed as part of a fake advertisement. So long as you had the magazine and thought to look there, it wasn't even a puzzle. If you copied the game files from a friend, there was no way you were seeing the last 3/4 of the game. For Civi, every few turns you would get a screen asking you to prove your lineage or some such, and would have to select which tech was a prerequisite for another later tech. If you answered wrong, it dumped you back to DOS. No save, no second chances. My favorite was the age restriction general trivia questions they asked to be able to play a Leisure Suit Larry. I felt like such a ducking grown up when I would finally answer them correctly and be able to play while my dad was at work. I remember that. Fortunately there were only like 20 questions, so you could trial and error your way through, or you could just hit Alt X and bypass them entirely. Probably in Carter 95 Mint Maze. I loved that. Backyard baseball. I would always pick Sammy Sosa and Pablo Sanchez and be unbeatable. Pablo Sanchez was a god. Always pick Pablo. Doom on my dad's computer. He taught me to use MS-DOS and let me kill Cyberdemons. It was a good year to be 5. I grew up on Doom 2nd and Quake. Good times. Don't forget Rise of the Triad. My friends and I used to play Doom and Heretic on LAN at his dad's work. We were all frantic about which game to buy next, and everyone was talking about how cool it was that you could shoot out the glass in the windows of Rot. I thought it was pretty crappy compared to Doom. Years later I realized that it was based off of the Wolf 3rd engine and nowhere near as advanced as Doom was. I still lol when I think about wearing asbestos armor. Oh so itchy. Command and Conquer. My older brother taught me American military spending in that game. Whenever it said silos needed, he would give the screen the finger and buy more tanks. He never lost. Command and Conquer. Red Alert for me. Nothing is better than a screen filled with airfields. Red Alert 2 for me. Kirov reporting. The impending doom was palpable, but that's all it was. Palpable. 2 minutes and a dozen rocketeers later, It's Hindenburg all over again. I remember one of the first games I played was A10 Cuba. I don't know if it was popular, but it was a military flying game, but at the time it felt realistic. I still remember a mission where there were two friendly planes flying in front and you can shoot their engine to cause a fire. They'd keep trying to fly but ultimately die. Another time you are meant to take off, but as you are waiting a giant cargo plane is landing. You can then shoot your gun at its front wheels and watch it slide about and crash. Don't even get me started on the hilarious ejector seat while on the ground upside down maneuver. I never completed any missions. Probably either King's Quest or Commander Keen. King's Quest is still categorized in the magic section of my mind. I don't think I've ever loved a game more than Hero's Quest. Math Blaster. It tricked me into learning. And Number Muncher. Love Number Muncher. I love Number Muncher so much. In 2nd grade I refused to stop playing at school because if you lost or left the computer the next kid got to play. I pissed my pants so hard in front of the class because I was on a high score run and had to make the decision between giving up or peeing in my sweats. The next year I still had a high score on that computer. Totally worth it. Battle chess. I didn't even know how to play chess, but the animations were awesome. Rook eats queen. So good. Fuck. Rooks taking anything was just the best. I disagree. I thought the king's animations were pretty goddamn funny. Oh look. A bishop twirling his staff like a kung fu master? King shrugs. Takes out a gun and shoots him. What's that? A knight with a sword and shield? King shrugs. Takes out a bomb and shoves it into his armor. Waving goodbye. Oh look. There's the enemy queen. King now proceeds to make out with enemy queen. The king so seldom takes a piece. So it's smart that they gave him all the best animations as a reward. Once, in my quest to see all the animations, I set up a custom board specifically for the purpose of having a pawn force checkmate. I forget the specific animation, but the pawn pulled out a scroll that caused the king to have a heart attack upon reading it. Worms. Ski free. I loved the little snowman who ran down the slope. You mean the Yeti that eats you at the end? Myst. I loved that game so freaking much. That game scared me as a child. I loved it, but was also creeped out by it. Blue Pages. The Curse of Monkey Island. Gua Brush 3. I'm Gua Brush 3 Wood. I'm a mighty pirate. Putt Putt Goes to the Moon. I preferred the Zoo one. Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem 3D was my favorite game when I was a kid. I still play it today and have sunk over 100 hours in the newest version released. Age of Empires. As I got older I left my social life behind as I got into RuneScape. My life story. CNC Red Alert. Zork. You are standing in an open field west of a White House with a boarded front door. There is a small mailbox here. Warcraft 2. Copied a friend's entire game folder to floppy disks. Copied them to my computer. And then played. Battle.net taught me how to type. It would have been years before I learned properly if I didn't need it to play online. StarCraft. I still remember all the cheat codes by heart. Show me the money. Food for thought. Sims 1. Scorched Earth / Scorch. Ran it on a really old computer. Even for an old game. If I launched a nuke I could watch the game paint the explosion line by line. The mega nuke meant I could go make a sandwich. If you never played it, it was basically the first Worms type game, I think. Pick angle and power. Pick one of about 50 weapons. No multiplayer of course. At least not with my setup. Edit. Definitely not the first. See below. Yes. Awesome game. Nothing better than launching a MIRV at your friend and taking out 3 at once. But tank came first. Personally loved turning on the wrap around walls and launching a MIRV to the left at full power. Nuclear roulette. Geo. I'm a dinosaur. 1. Frogger. 2. Digger. I still remember playing Pong in some kind of set-top box in the summer of '78. Yes, we are dinosaurs. 3rd Pinball Space Cadet. I remember dial-upl internet. Never forget. I had dial-up until 2007. I lived in the Botanies. My husband's best friend still has dial-up. The only way you can high speed internet where he lives is to pay for satellite. Oh, and you cannot play Sparks Live on PlayStation Online with satellite internet. I don't think you can play Sparks Live on PlayStation Online ever. Baldur's Gate. A single tier for how long I had to scroll to find this. This was a gateway game for me. D&D. Computer gaming. Fantasy novels. BG caused a landslide of interest in my life. Age of Empires 2. Starting with the first Age of Empires as a kid and then getting hooked to Age of Empires 2nd. It was glorious. It amazes me how such an old game still seems aesthetic and has a large following. I loved the first one. But once I learned all the cheat codes I became unable to play the game without cheating. I'd just type Big Daddy and cruise all over the map in my cool black car, killing enemies. No love for Photon Man or E equals MC2 Trooper? Edit. Trooper, not warrior. Yes. But how do you turn this on? Dune 2nd. One of the first RTS games and still one of my favorites. Bubble Bobble on C64. Me and a friend. 2 joysticks. 100 levels to go. King's Quest. I fear I'm old. Sierra games were the best back in the day. Lego Racers. I played the ever-living ship out of that game as a kid. I just wish they made a Rocket Racer Lego set. Hours upon hours of customizing cars and giving them the dumbest names. Oregon Trail. The computers in our school lab were hooked up in a primitive LAN, so that when you died, your classmates would come across your tombstone. So, we'd name our party after people we didn't like. Buy no provisions. Kill them off. And write mean things so everyone would see it. Edit. Formatting. How? What? Have the game files on networked storage, so that each instance of the game uses the same graveyard file. Not a hack. Just networking. Even without networking, the Apple's second version of the game would save your tombstone info to the floppy, so folks who use the same disk later could see them. Secret of Monkey Island. What a classic. I also loved Midnight Rescue on the school computers. RuneScape. I introduced my aunt to RuneScape when I was in 8th grade. It became her time dump after work and she eventually purchased a membership and outleveled me months after I had quit playing and moved to World of Warcraft. I got a call from her that she had met someone. Fast forward 2 years of them talking and eventually forming an innocent long distance relationship. They finally met up. 2 more years. She had moved to live close to him and eventually he popped the question. They got married my freshman year of college, back in 2011, and have been happily married since. He's a really great guy and treats her so well. It's funny to think that had I not ever played RuneScape and gotten her into it, she'd possibly still be single right now. Did she meet Zezima? That pinball game with the space guy. My grandparents had a newer computer and I would play it constantly when we would visit them. God, I love that game. Dune 2 and Warcraft. Orcs vs humans. So many hours spent on those games as a kid. The first Dune game was also really fun. Jazz the Jackrabbit. Or Keen. Such great memories. Lode Runner. And a close second. Barlow. TL. Dr. I'm old. Lode effing Runner. Respect. Commander Keen. Moth the Duck in Logical Journey of the Zoombaness. Make me a pizza. There's something on that I don't like. Fleens? You're not fleens. Well, whatever you are, make me a pizza. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Age of Mythology. Hands down legendary. Brustagma, Etamus, Icefully, Vulome, Lesjet. Plain old solitaire. I thought the animation of the cards bouncing down the screen when you won was the coolest thing ever. Quake. Diablo 2nd made the man I'm today. Can comfortably say that LOD was the best expansion / game I've ever played. It was amazing. Act 5 came with it and the Baal runs began. 800x600! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Lode Runner. Dude. Those monk guys that chased you around and would tear you apart if they caught you. Terrifying. Mech Warrior 2. I got addicted. My parents got me and my brother's a joystick for it. I thought it was the coolest thing to have something that close to a battle station at our computer. Reactor. Online. Such a great game. All systems nominal. Image enhancement. Engaged. Image enhancement. Disabled. Roller Coaster Tycoon. Space Quest. Thanks for being a real pantload. Quest for Glory 2nd. Trial by Fire. Hell. All the Sierra classics. For me it was the VGA remake of Quest for Glory I. So You Want to Be a Hero? Also, a few years later, Quest for Glory 4th was glorious despite the bugs. That game taught me the valuable lesson of saving in computer games as much as you can. Sorry. Signed. Programmer on QFG4. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Text Adventure. Earthworm Jim. Leisure Suit Larry, Land of the Lunch Lizard. Haha. I have fond memories huddled with my friend and his brothers trying to make it through the adulthood quiz. I remember the part where you have to buy condoms and I didn't know what one was. So I asked my mom what a condom was in front of company she had over. What the hell are you playing? Exclamation mark. Apostrophe. Sierra games are my fondest memory of early PC gaming. Haha. My dad gave my sister and I this game, and we spent hours playing it. I didn't understand most of it back then. But looking back now I see how inappropriate it was for 8 to 10-year-olds. Counter-Strike. Literally thousands of hours I've spent on this game. It kills me to think about now. Awesome game though. The original EverQuest. Nothing will ever come close to what that game was like during that time. Edit. Thanks for all the replies. I loved reading your stories. The game will never be the same again. Even the private servers trying to hold on to that feeling. It will always hold a special spot in my heart though. Golden Axe. Manuscript Paint. One of the first games my dad would let me play. Thought it would be harmless. He thought I wouldn't manage to destroy his computer if I was on Paint. He was wrong. Clicked open to find pictures to paint. It just showed me the files system. I got bored and started dragging critical system files around into other files. Computer wouldn't start after that. Maniac Mansion, Commodore 64, 1987. Age of Empires 2. Damn it. The computer just destroyed my last castle. And my army is toast. Time for Cobra Cars. I used How Do You Turn This On as a last resort so many times. Can't believe no one has said Ultima Online for me. Still nostalgia about that game. Day of the Tentacle, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Betrayal at Kronda was a close second for me. Neopets. I haven't fed my Neopet for over a decade. It's probably gone. They removed loads of old accounts that hadn't logged on in a while. I tried to log into mine last time someone mentioned Neopets in the last version of this thread, and it was gone and someone explained it. Dungeon Keeper. This game blew my mind when I was about 10. Amazing game. Sid Meier's Pirates. Gold. The 1993 version. I was so sad to see the 2004 remake to turn out so disappointing. However, Assassin's Creed Black Flag could easily be a Pirates remake, and that game is the shit. Mine was Sid Meier's Civ 2nd. Got the game in a promotional pack when my parents bought a gateway computer. I used to love the idea of making a fiction people group that worshipped me, named all of their cities after me, and made me an extravagant throne room. I have played and loved every Civ since, and I'm still playing 5 every few weeks. Half-Life. Duke Nukem 3D was probably the one I enjoyed the most on school PCs around 1995 to 1997. That instant ski and Wolfenstein 3D. The game on my first own computer I played till I got sick of it was Blood. Duck. That game scared the shit out of me. I think that was 1995/96. I think Blood was the first game I bought for PC. Lords of the Realm 2. Asheron's Call. Captain Crunch's Crunkling Adventure. OMG. I'd spend hours on that game. Chips Challenge. Edit. In my short Reddit career this has been my most upvoted comment, so that's pretty neat. Also, thanks for all the suggestions and places you can still play the game. So much nostalgia. Commander Keen. Secret of the Oracle. That big dumb fish with his big dumb buck teeth always made me panic as a young child. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Best THPS ever. Minesweeper. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.